So where does the acronym NSFW, or not safe for work, where does that come from? I'm not 100% certain, but I'm going to take a stab at it today. And I'm going to relate how this signals the degradation of our society and our culture. I know that's a big statement, but stick with me. So think about that term, not safe for work. It's not safe for kids, right? Maybe it started off as NSFW, not safe for wife, okay? Because it refers to explicit material, and that could be like a racy joke, but it could be pornography, it could be lots of different things. But I want to specifically talk about the acronym that we use. Again, the one that I'm familiar with is NSFW, and W meaning work, not safe for work. Now think about this. It must have started when somebody texted someone else some explicit material, whether, again, doesn't matter what it is, something that wasn't appropriate or appropriate for work, and they were at work and they got it and they got in trouble. So something happened while they were at work, and that happened, and then later on people started putting NSFW on it, so they knew don't open it at work or be in a place where you're not going to be around other people because it's not safe. Well, think about that for a second. You're at work sharing content. I don't care what content it is. You're playing at work. You're entertaining yourself at work. Now, the business that I do is personal training. I have to be present with my clients 100% of the time. Now, if I take a second to check my phone, if somebody called me, a client might have rescheduled, things like that, and my clients understand that. But if I was consuming content, I'm just on my phone, do you think that they would work with me? No. And you do see this actually if you go to gyms and you see trainers. And I'm lucky that I've had great examples when I was coming up in my early career. Now I do my own thing, but when I was working at gyms, I worked at a small location of Crunch Fitness, and out of all the different locations that they owned, we were the smallest square footage. We had the least amount of equipment. We had the smallest square footage of all the other locations. And we did the most personal training sales. We were crushing it against all the other ones. And some of them were gigantic and they had way more resources. We did the most because our managers, I was one of the initial managers. I came on and then I went away to open a new gym. I came back and I said, I don't want to manage anymore. And the guy that we had was amazing. And we both came on together. And when we were there, our first 3 months, we changed the culture. And this also came from our general manager. He changed the culture around it where you were working. When you were at work, you worked and you were focused, no hands in your pockets, not on your phone. Your phone couldn't be out there. You were so focused and you were high energy and you had fun and you got results, and we did get results. It was fun to go to work because it was engaging. And I know my job is different than a lot of other people's jobs. You know, they're just at a cubicle. Now I can't hide behind a cubicle to, look at some content and things. But I remember talking to a friend of mine and he said, oh, there's this new program, and everybody uses it now. It's called Slack. And I said, what do you do on Slack? And he's like, oh, well, it's for sending information back and forth between coworkers while you're at work. And I go, do you really use that to send information about work, or do you just share it? Because the original reason why he said it was, he's like, oh, this guy sent me this thing on Slack, and it was about, we were really into soccer or European football at the time. And so he sent me this thing, and I'm like, what an interesting name that it's called Slack. What do you call someone that is not working? They're slacking. And that's what I was like, give me a percentage of what do you think? And he's like, oh, it's 95% of what's shared on Slack is not work related. And I'm like, this is crazy. So they have the ability to, because again, they can hide behind the cubicle and they can kind of do their own thing. But I look at our culture and I look at especially us in the West and how we complain about so many different things. We're inefficient with so many different things, whether it be government or this or that. But we're not really putting out a bunch of effort. Now, this could be also due to the fact that we have, these hours of 9 to 5, and we do these countless useless meetings just to fill in time. And we do a lot of things, but I think if we focused like our gym focused on, we said, hey, we are going to get results. We are going to put out effort and we're going to get some freaking results. We did. We had a goal and we got there. And the culture was like that. Now look at the culture, like I said, of something like Slack. Look at the culture of Not Safe for Work. It's like, hey, it's okay to share information and share things and slack off at work, but don't share this certain type of content. Wait till you get home with that. It's like this is what people are able to do all day long, and we wonder why we're not getting enough of the compensation that we need. We wonder why we're not producing the same amount that we used to. I think the standards have lowered. You hear this thing now called silent quitting, right? Or something along the lines of silent quitting, where people just show up to work and they don't even do the bare minimum. They almost try to get fired with the level of work that they're putting out. They just show up and go through the motions, but even that, they don't respond, they don't do these things because they're over it and they're waiting to get fired. And it's like, what has our culture come to where we don't want to put out effort? Now you could say, hey JD, this is part of the executives and this is part from the top down. The way the corporations work, they're not giving us our fair share. But if I just told you that 95% of the content that is shared on a program that the company's spending money on to make sure that you communicate information about the company is used on sharing football stories and sharing, other random things, do you think that they're going to sit there and really take you seriously when you want to compensate, when you want more compensation? I really think that if our culture said, hey, I'm going to put out this many hours a week, and I'm going to really be there. My phone's not going to be there. We're going to be focused that whole time, and I'm going to be working that whole time. And the best of all, I'm going to be producing the results. I'm going to say what I do, what I say and what I do are going to be congruent. I don't think that there would be much challenge when someone would say, hey, I want more money. They would pay you. Whereas I don't think that that's the case today because our standards have gotten lower and lower. And I know this is true in education because we just keep lowering the bar. COVID screwed a lot of this up for the schools because they were just like, what do we do? And I don't know what the solution that is, but I do know, I talked about it before, I mentioned that the whole schooling system should change because I feel like most of it is a waste of time, especially for those kids that aren't going to go become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer that need college. Most people are going to have a bunch of debt and a bunch of skills that they're not going to use in their average everyday life or their job. So they're going to end up with a different career that they don't really use their degree for. So might as well get experience. So that being said, I look around and I look at things like this, and I don't know where these ideas come from. They don't come from me. They come from who knows. But I thought about that and I said, where did that term not safe for work? Now, not safe for kids, all right, hey, that makes sense to me, but not safe for work, that means that you're sharing so much content that you can put a label on it, hey, don't open this at work, all right, save that for these other things, and people are okay with that, okay? And so I just look at that and I go, this does not bode well for us because we're setting that standard lower and lower and lower. And now, we're going to have changes with this, new AI and technology. There's so many different things going on, and I just don't know if there's going to be that congruency that we need from us in our workforce to be able to have any sort of compensation whatsoever, because we're like, well, just let that do it, or what are we doing, or I'm owed more. It's very interesting. So anyways, that was just what was on my mind today. Again, I don't know where it came from, but I don't think that just that term itself, I don't think that bodes well for our culture because we're not putting out the effort. Case in point, our culture at that small, little, tiny location crushed every single other gym. They brought in all the other trainers and all the other managers to just watch us because we were doing we never went to another gym to go to do meetings and to do other things at other gyms. They always came to us because we were the top producers and they couldn't get the other people to do it. because the culture wasn't there, and it starts at the top. So I know what you're probably going to say. Hey, JD, the top executives, they're out playing golf every day. Hey, and if that's the problem, and then that's what we're doing, then this would be a call to the executives. Step your game up. If you want to be respected and you want your employees to work, it has to start at the top. And I don't know the culture in the corporate world because I'm not a part of that anymore. I do my own thing, like I said, and hey, if there's anyone guilty of slacking off and not doing his potential, it's me. But when I'm in front of my clients, I don't have the excuse of having a cubicle or having my own time or downtime in between things because I'm with that person for that 45 minutes to an hour. If I didn't have that job, who knows? I'd be slacking with the best of them. So I understand it, but I just don't think it bodes well for our society moving forward. I think we've got to really put an effort in, whether we want to or not. And again, if the standard was there, we'd follow through. I guarantee you we would, because I saw it. I saw it with 19-year-old kid. 19-year-old kid got certified. He said, he literally said, I don't know what you guys are doing, but this place is complete. He came to that gym. He was a really, really strong kid. Jiu-jitsu kid. He came to that gym. It was right across the street from a high school, and all the high school kids started going there. We started training teams. We started doing all this fun stuff there. Culture was amazing there. And this kid says, I don't know what the heck you guys are doing, but I want to be a part of it. Told him how to get certified as a trainer, showed him how to get to sell, hooked him up, started working there. Now that wasn't what he really wanted to do, but he got this great experience and he was good at it. He could have done it, but he's super smart and he did all these other things. But he just wanted a taste of that and that understanding. And I think that comes from higher standards, not lower standards. So anyways, if you own a business or you're an executive, think about those types of things. Where does it start? Does it start at the top and work its way down as the example? Does it start with the standards, raising those standards? That's what I think. And again, you got to lead by example. And I don't know how many examples are out there because I'm not out there, but I'd love to hear from you and see what is going on in your everyday life. And then what's the other thing? We work from home now. I didn't even mention that. So the slacking capability is exponential now that people are able to be at home all day and they really don't have anyone looking down and over them. So not safe for work. Hey, I guess it's all safe now when you're at your own home. So anyways, that's all I've had on my mind today. Hope you enjoyed that. And until next time, I'll see you.